In this world, there are few things as captivating or visually striking as the horror section of your local neighborhood mom and pop video store shelf. In the same way music can trigger a memory and fill in the spaces of time that memory has once forgotten, in my head, the same can be said for the poster art that adorned those sacred VHS horror titles. Seriously, some of my first impressions on the world as I knew it lived on garish and nightmare-inducing video cassettes like April Fool's Day. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's remember for a minute the process of renting and discovering hot horror smut on tape. Imagine this: 9-year-old me arriving and pushing open that heavy-ass vault door of a Friday night at a little place called Video Giant. Knowing on Fridays it's a 2-for-1 and maybe, just maybe, today is the day you can sneak home something mean, something of substance, something to scare the absolute daylights out of you. Once past that front entrance, the door closes. You're welcome with the bells chime and the scent of popcorn, candy, and spilled Coca-Cola. Green electric carpet drapes the way to the outer wall of the safe, popular films. All around the store, the same ALF promo plays on a loop, with the Ninja Turtles cartoon also kind of cycling through. And to most normies, Video Giant is a family fun zone, chock full of perfectly acceptable titles on the outer walls. However, and this is important, way back in the southeast section of the store, there is a world of videotapes so ghastly you kind of had to walk past them, hoping that the titles that spooked you before were rented for that night. I'm looking right at you, Howling 4. Now, there also seemed to be a horror hierarchy to the way that the rows of videotapes were kind of strategically placed. From the popular outer row of clamshells of Jaws, Poltergeist, and hell, even house films, the family-friendly Universal monsters, to that inner row of horror titles of Freddy, Friday, and the popular slasher flicks. Once you browse past this far, this deep into the maze, there was nothing left for young boys like me but violence and gore. This section was literal deep water for kids like me, barely treading while parents browsed for popular comedies like Batteries Not Included and Harry and the Hendersons. This was the good shit. Cult classics, B-movies, hack and slash, 3 on a meat hook, cannibal classics, and the allure of perversion. This was about as close to the sacred adult titles I could get without crossing the coveted beaded curtain. Films like Chud. Films like Chud is where the innocence of childhood and the stench of demonic entities, TNA, and disfigured aggression collided. No bones about it. The horror section is where I cut my teeth, where I gained crucial initial experiences necessary for the forming of my identity. And those VHS horror covers were my guiding light, cherished pieces of time before the internet, and now all but history. When you really think about it, is there anything better than walking into your mom and pop and seeing a title like Chud? Now, you might not have ever seen Chud, and that's okay. It's kind of a running joke, but to horror fans, cannibalistic, humanoid, underground dwellers is anything but a joke. Chud is amazing. Chud is what horror is all about. Chud brings everything that you love about 80s sleazy horror cinema right into your fucking house, and this is one hell of a good horror film that's just really got this reputation on the video store shelves because of its artwork and because of its title, and I, for one, simply love it. Now let's move on to a little David Cronenberg here. Cronenberg was way ahead of his time. Way ahead of his time, and this cover for Scanners freaked me out. I didn't know anything about this film, but what's cool about a horror VHS title, or even just that poster art especially, is when you see it, you hope that something is going to happen on the inside of the cassette. A lot of times for 80s kids like me, we would rent horror titles based on cover art, hoping that something inside would live up to what was pasted on the outer box. And with Scanners, it totally delivers. Hopefully everybody and their mom has seen Scanners by now, but when that guy's head explodes, that's exactly what you want on the front cover. It's amazing, dude. It's absolutely incredible. It's got great music. It's got a great just overall vibe, and this dude just losing his mind is exactly what I needed when I decided to rent Scanners. Now, is it my favorite David Cronenberg film? No, probably not, but that's okay. Scanners still means a lot to me because I would walk by this title and I wouldn't necessarily get a chill or shriek, but I was so interested on what is going on, what is going to happen in this film, dude. I had to know. And as far as the Cronenberg title Scanners, man, it does nothing but deliver absolutely incredible, and I highly recommend it to anyone that's looking for a damn good time. And also important to remember, these are not in any sort of order. These are just titles I would walk by and have to know more based simply on the cover art. And when it comes to Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge, that I hope is kind of getting a little bit of a renaissance, kind of getting its flowers now with that 4K box set. There was nothing like this, man. Now, there's multiple covers, and I remember seeing both of them. The one where he's kind of in the bathroom and he's kind of beckoning to you, but this one on the front reminds me of the school bus, and it brings me back to, I don't know what's inside of this, but Freddy at that time period, man, in the 80s was every fucking where. I mean, everywhere. He was a global phenomenon. He showed up in all of my favorite cartoons. We had like bootleg knockoff Sharp Hand Joes. Freddy 2, Freddy's Revenge, dude, the look of him, everything about this film scared me so bad. This was one of the first films, I've talked a lot about this, that I was forced to watch by my asshole cousin, but I loved everything about it, dude. I was locked in at 7 years old when I watched Freddy's 2. I had no clue about the other connotation that would come from, you know, the Scream Queen documentary. I just knew that Freddy fucked me up and I wanted more of it. Shifting now over to another film that just totally captivated me by nothing more than the cover art, Mausoleum. Now listen, this was a film that I did not rent for a long time. I don't know why. There was something like kind of cryptic about the title, and that just something that looked like it was going to be, like, sometimes you know something is going to be low budget by the cover also, and I could tell that something was just a little bit off with this film, and boy was I wrong. If you're looking for one of the craziest little witch kind of, I don't know, but like half possession, half, it's just weird. Mausoleum, as if I would have rented this as like a 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old kid, I would have been in for a treat. There is tons of TNA in this film. There is tons of crazy effects, tons of green smoke, tons of witchy behavior, and I didn't really fall in love with this film and the gore and the effects until I was probably 13 or 14, and by then, yeah, I still loved it, and Mausoleum continues to have this kind of reckoning now with that Vinegar Syndrome release that I picked up. This is a film that needs more eyeballs on it all the time. I am such a massive fan of Mausoleum for having really nobody in the film that's kind of known in the horror community. For me anyway, when I watched this, I was still just captivated by the colors, the soundtrack, and the way that like everything that was horrifying was happening in the daylight. You could not get away from this lady. She just totally possesses the whole house. I've got a long form video about it. If you haven't seen Mausoleum, I encourage you. If you love 80s horror and you want kind of like that hack and slash pre-Night of the Demons, Mausoleum is going to hit you right where you need it. Give this thing a shot, dude. Dude, going back in time to the Willies, let me tell you a quick story. If you haven't seen some of my other videos before, the Willies is a big deal. The Willies is hard to get. The Willies, even back then, was hard to find on VHS. This was probably my #1 rented title when I would go camping with my family, because my family were cool like that. I would go and see my cousin Brad, and what we would get to do is while we were out in the tent and the adults were in like the fifth wheel or the RV, whatever the case was, the camper trailer, we would be in the tent with the long ass extension cord, and we would get like a little plug and play VHS combo, and we'd go to the like neighborhood market of the campground, and we would rent the Willies, and we would have the best fucking time, period. There is something so like kind of nostalgic, kind of whimsical, kind of romantic about the Willies when I think about it. Is it because it's like just still like kind of out of print and you can't get it on Blu-ray, and we need a 4K, we need a big box set? Vinegar Syndrome would kill this release. Maybe that's part of it, but maybe I think it's kind of this like weird, quirky anthology type of wraparound movie that's got amazing segments, and I think that it's just super funny. It's got Sean Astin, like it's got a crazy good cast. It's got all these characters that you've seen in other horror films. It's got like just weird, twisted stories, dude. I mean, I'm talking about there's versions of this that you can't even see. The Dog in the Microwave especially. The Willies, for my money, dude, I don't know if it gets any better for fun kind of coming of age 90s, like late 80s, early 90s kid horror comedies. Like, I know a lot of people are like Monster Squad and they love Gremlins and they kind of had the Beetlejuices in their life, and I did too, but for me, dude, it was all Willies all the time. This is one of my favorite movies. I love it so much. I can't even I can't even tell you how much fun I had watching the Willies. It's absolutely incredible. The music, the effects are actually kind of cheesy, kind of fun, kind of gory. There's a story with this school janitor dude, and I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but it is so, it kind of feels like a little mixture of like Stand By Me with some sort of like, I don't know, Twilight Zone. Everybody kind of gets their comeuppance. This is a film that is so much fun, and I'm begging you right now, dude, you've got to go search out the Willies. I know that it's a Brian Peck film, and I know that people have a troubled history with that, and I'm not, gonna advocate for anything for that fucking guy, but the Willies, man, you can usually find it on YouTube, and there's actually like an under wraps DVD combo that you can get, usually for like 15 or 20 bucks. It has a terrible quality, but if you're watching it on an old flat screen, it's gonna hit you pretty good. Look, I gotta be real with you. This title right here I rented just because of the cover art alone. Do you know what I'm saying here? That scantily clad lady being attacked by a cockroach was everything to me. I wanted this to be incredible on the inside. I wanted tons of nudity. I wanted all of this to deliver. And if you've seen the film, you know that it is actually one of the best B horror, body horror movies out there. It's got crazy good gore, crazy soundtrack, crazy fun, like small town like atmosphere, and it's got nasty fucking cockroaches like everywhere. You cannot get away from them. They completely run this town, and there's like a cover up and a secret society of them. The cockroaches and the body effects are similar to The Fly, but really what I wanted more of the woman on the cover. I'm just going to be real. I rented this film frequently because of that cover, and it just enticed me. I just wanted it, and as a young 80s kid, man, I gotta tell you, The Nest was it. Moving on to this title right here. This is a title that does not have enough people talking about it. It just doesn't. Maybe it's because all it has is a Blu-ray and it's never come out on 4K. Maybe it's because Wes Craven has done so many other amazing films. Listen, Serpent and the Rainbow is all that in a few fucking bags of chips. This is a film that needs to be seen. And I got to admit, when I first watched it, when I was a young kid, I don't know if I totally appreciate it. I don't know if I totally get how much like voodoo and mysticism and the way that things keep happening to this guy, probably because it happens in the daylight too, and I didn't really understand like how crazy things could feel when something's inside your brain, like this weird zombie Haitian voodoo ritual that takes over Bill Paxton. This is an incredible film from an incredible director that everybody needs to see. And listen, there's going to be a part 2, so I don't want anyone to be upset here. Last but not least is 976 Evil, a 1988 horror comedy from first-time director Robert Englund. Yes, that Robert Englund put out a horror comedy that I would rent based on the title and the image on that front cover alone. And I know what you're thinking. How are you going to end this with 976 Evil? Where is Return of the Living Dead 2? Where is Fright Night? Where is Zombie? Where is Creepshow? Where is Evil Dead 2? Where is some of like even Basket Case? Ghoulies? Josh, you missed so many. There's going to be a part 2. Right now, I want to just riff for a second on 976 Evil. This has got good old fella there from Fright Night. We are talking about, what's his name? Stephen Jeffries. This is a film that I think is criminally underseen, that I think definitely needs a brand new 4K from Vinegar Syndrome. This is a title that I just absolutely fucking loved as a kid. I loved everything about it. Robert knew what he was doing, and I know that it's a little bit uneven. I know that the reviews are bad. I know that it's got a 15% right now on the old Rotten Tomato meeting, but that doesn't mean shit to me. Rotten Tomatoes is trash. What I really love are the Google user reviews, and for whatever reason they took those away from us. Trust me, if you haven't seen 976 Evil and you are a B horror movie fan and you want to know what Robert wanted to get into in 1988 at the peak of his Nightmare Freddy success, you need to watch 976 Evil. Back then, call the devil, call him up. You need to know what's going on. This is a paid phone call. Direct to hell. I love everything about it. Take care of yourselves, and part 2 is coming very soon. Cheers.